So when you see that Hong Kong has started about educational reform since the 1980s, why there is the educational reform due to technological advancement, economic transformation, globalization, and competition. So that Hong Kong is cannot avoid a pace to deliver about the education reform. And so that in the history documents, there are the two waves of educational reform appeared in Hong Kong. The first wave of educational reform is aimed at internal effectiveness, especially for learning and teaching in schools. And so that actually is a more micro perspective and a small scale of educational reform. And start from the 1990s, there are the second wave of educational reform intends for interface effectiveness. That means it's more macro perspective. And so that under the 334 educational reform is the second wave of educational reform. And so that under the government documents, when you see that Hong Kong has started about some of the middle level of the educational reform, starts from the 1965 of the White Paper, starts from educational policy. And the 1974 White Paper also mentioned is focused on the secondary education in Hong Kong over the next decade. And so that the secondary education structure has already totally get the reform, start from the 1970s. And 1977 is Green Paper, is senior, secondary, and tertiary education. Is a development program for Hong Kong over the next decade. And the 1970 White Paper is about the development of senior, secondary, and tertiary education. And so that I can tell you that the tertiary education has started from the late 1970s on that. And so that Hong Kong educational reform has started from the 3223 to 334. What is the meaning of the 3223 to 334. 3223 is English, is the British model. Is the 7 years secondary school and 3 years university. And now is the 6 years secondary school and 4 years university model. And under the English model is the before the 1997. Hong Kong has fulfilled about the British model because start from the, when you see, go back to the history, Hong Kong has already occupied by the British after the first Opium War in 1842. And so that Hong Kong has already colonized by the British government. And so that education must be followed by the British government on that. And after the 1997, 1st July, Hong Kong has already under the political transition shift from the United Kingdom to the Chinese government. And so that Hong Kong nowadays is followed by the Chinese government model on that. And so that this is the typical picture when you see that this is the political transition from United Kingdom to the Chinese. And so that after the return from the United Kingdom, actually the education has already significant changes on that.